Welcome back to the program, everybody. Welcome back to another show. Welcome back to another episode. Good morning or good afternoon to all of my viewers, listeners, and Soul Tribe family. The name of this program is called It's a Conspiracy, But It Ain't No Theory. It's a Conspiracy, But It Ain't No Theory is a nonprofit social service agency. Suicide prevention campaign servicing the needs of families and foster children at risk. Lending my voice to help raise awareness by soft publishing a book trilogy called Lucy's Lair. So it was really important for me to add this piece or this bit here, lending my voice to help raise awareness, because my voice is my gift, and you don't know anybody personally that sings better than I do. Lucy's Lair is a graphic novel based on true events following my life as a freelance artist. This program is intended to help, encourage, heal, and empower survivors of cancel culture and rape culture, providing free information regarding child abuse, sexual assault, domestic violence, electronic harassment, gang stalking, conspiracy, and true organized crimes against humanity. Your company can help by providing funds in a grant or by donating goods and services as I continue delivering this information to the public and advocating for foster children in need. Thank you in advance for all of your support. On today's episode, I'm going to be discussing gang stalking, hypersimulation theory, psychological operations, plus surviving the New World Disorder per usual, surviving manufactured chaos, surviving manufactured karma, surviving white genocide, and surviving the electronic targeting holocaust or the cyber Pearl Harbor. My name is Adrienne Alese. I am the author and creator of a book trilogy called Lucy's Lair, Part 1, 2, and now 3. Lucy's Lair is a book trilogy reflecting my life as a survivor of rape culture, child sex trafficking, and psychological gas chambers. On this program, I advocate for women's rights, basic human rights, and the rights of those disabled. The approach that I use in terms of my advocating is exposing the truth. It would be narrative exposure therapy. I also advocate on behalf of the foster children in the CPS system, orphans, single mothers, foster mothers, and those less fortunate. Targeted individuals or trafficked victims are predominantly women. 65 to 70% of TIs are white American women or those who identify as such. This makes gang stalking an illegal operation or hate crime that is sexually and politically motivated towards American women and their children. This program is a dedication to the targeted individual community. The objective of the opposition or the counterintelligence program is to subvert all of the target's potentiality, to terminate and to punish all supporters and sympathizers, to round down the target's output and audience, to marginalize the target, to eliminate connections and networking ability. Chapter 18, Overview of Harassment Methods Used by FBI's COINTELPRO, Operation Gladio, Covert Community Recruits, and Stay Behind Armies, or Instruction Manual for Community Gang Stalkers. Number 1, general. Operations in general are of the active surveillance type. Passive surveillance is watching a target covertly to obtain information about the target that will be used for a counter-proliferation targeting program. Active surveillance can include information gathering, but it also includes the agent making the target aware they are under surveillance. Beyond active surveillance, agents perform acts to keep the target uncomfortable around the clock. So this is 24/7. This is happening around the clock. Although operations are silently approved of and covered for by the official justice system, they are not seen as criminal in nature by citizens who do not have a strong sense of right and wrong. So basically, every single person that participates in these operations lack a conscience, and they think that I'm jealous of them. Wow. Agents must take great care that each and every act of punishment is deniable. So when they get caught, they need to be fired and put in jail for their crimes against humanity. This means that should the target complain to police, this is a really important part, so pay attention. This means that should the target complain to police or any other officials, friends or neighbors, family members or doctors, the nature of the punishment must be seen as the target's, quote, overactive imagination, or better yet, an indication that the target is mentally ill. The system has worked for years to recruit the medical establishment to help maintain deniability. So the police are working in tandem with the medical establishment to help maintain deniability. And today, most targets are immediately labeled as mentally ill and often forced onto antipsychotic medication when they complain. But their agents must still do their part skillfully to perform acts of punishment so that almost anyone the target complains to will deny that a crime against the target has taken place. So right here you have the truth, right there. So there's no more denying. All of these lies, they don't fly. As an agent, you will be trained in how to do this. The system has been blessed. I can't stop laughing. This system is so cursed. It's so flawed every which way. I can't believe they would even have the audacity to put how blessed it is. It's not blessed. They've been caught. The system has been blessed with advanced technology, which enables heavy punishment at times. The target is in their home, silently, through walls, and this is very deniable. So this would be the electronic holocaust that they're referring to. Agents must pass their initial training and demonstrate a high level of commitment to maintain community safety and the ability to operate deniably before they will be considered for advanced electronic punishment training. Electronic punishment training is beyond the scope of this manual. The organization is very fortunate in that we have been able to recruit top specialists to back up field operations people. Psychologists are the key to finding ways to maximize feelings of stress and hopelessness in the target and degrading the target's health from many individual, quote, minor, invasive punishment acts, including reverse psychology and dark psychology. Technicians in all fields, telecommunications, electric power, building, electrical and alarm systems, and utility employees in all fields use their positions to inflict many absolutely, quote, normal-looking problems on targets on an ongoing basis, on an ongoing daily basis, around the clock, 24/7. And of course, the services of many skilled locksmiths are invaluable in this. As a community-based agent, CBA, you will have the privilege of working with a team capable of delivering better, quote, justice, or in this case, it would be injustice, because these are crimes against humanity. As a community-based agent, CBA, you will have the privilege of working with a team capable of delivering better, quote, justice than the official justice system. So that's just general. That's just the first section. We're going to get through it as much as we can today. Chapter 18, Overview of Harassment Methods Used by FBI's COINTELPRO Operation Gladio, Covert Community Recruits and Stay-Behind Armies, or Instruction Manual for Community Gang Stalkers. Part 2, Surveillance. Surveillance is the foundation of all operations. Both community-based agent, CBA, visual surveillance, and advanced electronic surveillance are used. This chapter will cover only local agent visual surveillance. Your local lead agent will schedule surveillance watches for each target in that community. Every target will have at least one CBA watching them at all times, even while at home and asleep. Each CBA surveillance team will be given a cell phone number for reporting target actions and movement to the local control center. Actions to be reported include, but are not limited to: target turns lights on to start the day. Target uses toilet or shower. Target exits residence. Target drives away. Target arrives at work, or target shops or visits any other establishment or location. Target arrives home. Target eats meal at home or in restaurant. Target engages in sexual activity. Target turns lights off at the end of the day. Target turns lights on in the middle of the night. Target travels out of town. Some of these observations will be performed by the Electronic Corps, EC, but CBAs should attempt to make and report as many detailed observations of target activity as possible. The reason such detail is necessary is that the punishment phase of active surveillance requires that supervisors customize each punishment action to match the personality of the target and the need to make each punishment action appear to be, quote, life's normal breaks. One important punishment function of surveillance is to desensitize the target. Targets are never told that they are under surveillance or being punished. Instead, close, active surveillance and other activities happening far too frequently to be written off as, quote, life's normal breaks will eventually cause the target to realize that they are under surveillance and punishment. As a community-based agent, you will be given specific instructions on exactly when, where, and how to carry out punishment actions. As long as you carry out punishment instructions exactly as given, there is no way the target will be believed if they complain, and you will not be exposed to risk of action by law enforcement. How well the punishment actions work depends on how accurate and complete your reports are in many situations. The control center acquires access to properties or apartments immediately next to the target's home or apartment. Because Electronic Corps has through-the-wall surveillance and punishment equipment, they will be reporting target activity along with community-based agents. In a typical setup, right there you have the truth. Everybody that you're listening to online is lying to you. Turn your device off. Do me a favor. Subscribe and like my channel. It's the only truth that exists at all. It's the only truth that you need. It's the only show that you need to watch. It's the only news that you need to hear. In a typical setup, okay? In a typical setup, all these lies do not fly. Because the truth is right here. In a typical setup, CBAs may be posted in a parked car where the target's home or apartment can be observed overnight, for example. In this setup, I'm going to say it again. In this setup, The CBA in the car may be instructed to call using walkie-talkie style cell phones, another CBA or team waiting or patrolling by car nearby to follow the target, or you may be assigned to follow the target yourself. So following the target is stalking. That's the gang stalking that you hear me constantly referring to. If I post a video and it's just a bunch of vehicles, they're stalking me. That's why I post it. Okay, it's a trafficking ring. In this setup, the CBA in the car may be instructed to call using walkie-talkie style cell phones, another CBA or team waiting or patrolling by car nearby to follow the target, or you may be assigned to follow the target yourself. You will receive instructions from your local center as to following the target. Targets in transit may be either covertly or visibly followed. So they try to get in front of us, actually, so they can control, I guess, our speed. I'm not sure. Pretty much everything that we do is compromised. Everything that we do is compromised. So they are controlling every single thing that we say and do. So like it says in this setup, so because it's a setup, because it's a sting operation, because it's a conspiracy, everything that I say and everything that I do is self-defense, period. When in doubt, hang back a bit and contact the center for instructions, as targets in transit can present many unanticipated situations. When in doubt, hang back a bit and contact the center for instructions, as targets in transit can present many unanticipated situations. The center will always have the target's position monitored, so if a target gives the CBA the slip, it will assign other appropriate community-based agents to pick up the target at the earliest opportunity. Be sure to notify the control center immediately if you lose the target. When applying the visible following of a target, making the target uncomfortable simply because of your presence, because stalking is a crime. Okay? Stalking is a crime. So that's why the target feels uncomfortable, because stalking is a crime. Okay. When applying the visible following of a target, making the target uncomfortable simply because of your presence, because you're a creepy weirdo stalker, child trafficking, serial killing, murderer, pedophile. Yeah, it does make me uncomfortable. It makes me want to kill you, quite literally. So anyways, you will be given instructions as to when to break off the following. Another CBA or CBA team may pick up the visible following, but once you have broken away, they advise that you are clear and ready for the next assignment. So they are harassing these targets all day, every day, trying to holocaust them, trying to run a counter-proliferation targeting program, trying to make sure that they never have a meal to eat, trying to make sure that they never have love. They're deprived of love entirely. They never have a job or any income. They won't have housing. They won't have homes to sleep in, beds to sleep in. And it is so disgusting that this is what these gang stalkers are doing every day, all day long. And they think that they're entitled to an opinion of some sort. You have none. You're irrelevant. You belong in the prison systems for the rest of your life. Chapter 18, Overview of Harassment Methods Used by FBI's COINTELPRO Operation Gladio Covert Community Recruits and Stay-Behind Armies, or Instruction Manual for Community Gang Stalkers. Part 3, Intercepts. Intercepts are where community-based agents will appear to, quote, just coincidentally cross paths on foot with the target. Once the target has been sensitized to the point of realizing that they are under surveillance and punishment, they will recognize and be made appropriately uncomfortable by the simple act of multiple CBAs, quote, just happening to cross paths with them. Your local control center will instruct you as to how you will be cued to perform an intercept. Often you will have an on-site supervisor position you and give you hand signals as to when to start your movement to intercept the target. Because targets moving about aren't always totally predictable, the success of CBA intercepts depends heavily on the electronic corps, who have means of monitoring the exact whereabouts of every target and through computer programs predict exactly when and where a target will be as they move throughout the community. Your local on-site supervisor has special means of receiving instant silent instructions for the center. Intercepting CBAs may be asked to perform one of the following forms of intercept. Simple path crossing, requiring the target to take evasive action to avoid collision. Multiple CBAs sometimes perform this several times during a single outing by a target. On foot, walking for an extended period on the opposite side of the street from a walking target. Arriving at a place known to be a favorite of the target and simply occupying that place just as the target is about to arrive. For example, restaurants, parks, public facility seating, even bus seats, just to name a few. Sometimes just, quote, hanging out in such a location at times and places where people don't ordinarily do that. Smoking, coin jiggling, whistling, or toe tapping near the target at a location where the target is known to need to stand as to wait for the bus, or standing right behind a target at a water fountain. A group as many as a dozen CBAs may be assigned to arrive at a store just ahead of a target and form a queue ahead of the target, spending time buying lottery tickets to delay the target. The target is very tired and eager to get home after work, for example, or in a hurry. Community-based agents may be assigned to leave a next-door home or apartment exactly the same time as the target repeatedly. Alternatively, a CBA may intercept the target a short way before home and arrive at exactly the same time as the target. While these may seem like trivial acts, keep in mind that the target will have these, quote, trivial things happen every single day, and repeated intercepts like these will force the target to always watch for such acts, essentially ensuring that the target never, quote, has a nice day. This is the goal to ensure the target's punishment. Similar intercept operations are performed with vehicles. The center can schedule these every day the target commutes, and both to and from work. Vehicle intercepts are particularly effective when the target sees the same vehicle in an intercept convoy both in the morning and in the evening commute. Because vehicle intercepts can be dangerous, CBAs assigned to vehicle intercept duty must successfully complete a special training course prior to actual assignment. Here are some examples of vehicle intercepts a community-based agent, CBA, can expect to be assigned. Parking so as to prevent a target's leaving a parking area and then disappearing. So this is how they're trying to force the target to isolate. So parking so as to prevent a target's leaving a parking area and then disappearing. They go as far as towing the vehicles. They go as far as tampering with the vehicles. They will take it as far as they possibly can. Parking commercial vehicles often near target's home with something unusual about these vehicles, such as there is no need for that trade or just unmarked white vans to make the target think the van is there to conduct surveillance. The surveillance that they're conducting in these convoys, they're using their spy gear that is attached to the vehicle. So it's usually the rear or reverse angled camera. I think that's what it's called. Simple following or leading a short distance, but every day doing this both during target commutes and then other times makes the target very uncomfortable. Passing at side street stop sign, then stopping an uncomfortable distance into oncoming traffic just as target is about to arrive at the side street, causing the target to have to slam on the brakes. This requires control center assistance and prompting by walkie-talkie style cell phone. They've done this to me several times and it almost has caused me to wreck. For a CBA vehicle convoy, boxing in the target during a commute, forcing the target to travel at a lower speed than the target wants to travel. In some locations, the center will supply special license plates to the CBA vehicles which have special meanings to the target. For a CBA convoy and where the target is at a location and time where traffic is normally very sparse, cause heavy traffic, forcing the target to notice. The ultimate vehicle intercept is the staged accident. This can be dangerous and is only assigned to very senior agents. However, it is possible to stage an accident so only the target knows that it was staged. This is an excellent means of punishment where a target has committed a serious offense, specifically against secret services, by revealing their criminality to the public. Generally, real staged accidents are done in jurisdictions where police strongly support the operations so that the CBA driver is protected. So the CBA driver that is murdering targets in a staged accident is acting like an executioner. This is a serial killer that works for the FBI. All right, so I wanted to review and just briefly go over again this last part in chapter 18, under the section 3, under the intercepts. In Chapter 18, Overview of Harassment Methods Used by FBI's COINTELPRO, Operation Gladio, Covert Community Recruits, and Stay Behind Armies, or Instruction Manual for Community Gang Stalkers. Part 3, under the intercepts, where it gets to the very, very bottom. Okay, at the very end here it says, generally, real staged accidents are done in jurisdictions where police strongly support the operations so that the CBA driver is protected. So, feminists that are anchored to situations and are forced to isolate with their violent partner, this is strongly supported by the police, which is why they're too afraid to arrest him. So because the police think that it's my karma to be in a domestic violence relationship, they strongly support this operation. They want to see it continue, which is why I haven't had a single person help me get out of this relationship. So, and that's very recent. It's been 2-3 years now that I've been trying to call the police and leave, and they won't let me. So, and that's because the police strongly support the operation, and so the abuser in the relationship is protected by the police. Every time. Haven't you noticed that every time they come out, he will not get arrested? They're too afraid to arrest him because they're supposed to be actually facilitating this torture and this punishment. So this is the real reason why these women are in these DV relationships and can't leave. This is the real reason. Because the police strongly support the operations And so the abuser in the relationship is protected. Washington State, this is a state that will give a serial rapist custody of the victim's child. This is a state that will give a serial rapist custody of the victim, the rape victim's child, which is also leveraging the system so that it can gain control. Leveraging the system so it can gain custody of the child is a form of trafficking. Not allowing the rape victim to see the child in fear that the child will learn that the father is a rapist is trafficking. Chapter 18, Overview of Harassment Methods Used by FBI's COINTELPRO, Operation Gladio, Covert Community Recruits, and Stay Behind Armies, or Instruction Manual for Community Gang Stalkers. Part 4, Physical Sabotage. Physical sabotage is an especially effective form of punishment when it is carefully limited to low-value items, below the value where police will take the report seriously. For example, burning a target's house down or even stealing an expensive appliance would bring official investigators into the picture, so that is not done. Sabotage producing extreme safety hazards is generally not suitable for operations because of the potential for bringing official investigators to an accident scene. So while damaging the brake system of a target's vehicle is not allowed for community-based agents, draining some of the oil, transmission fluid, or radiator antifreeze is allowed, but not all of it. The goal is to make it look as if the target is negligent in maintaining fluid levels and generally not causing a catastrophic failure that non-targets might see as sabotage. It is very important to apply punishment by way of a large number of small value sabotage acts because that makes it look like the target is forgetful, exaggerating, or in some cases even delusional, if they complain about many cases of small value damage. The target's associates will simply refuse to believe that anyone but the target is responsible. Sabotage is very important in that it lets the target know that they are totally helpless to stop it and can't even complain about it effectively without appearing mentally ill. So my brother Josh taking my daughter Felicity's graduation gift and not giving it back, this is a form of physical sabotage. And that is the reason why my brother and I no longer communicate. The organization is very fortunate in that some people hearing about the sabotage from a target did the sabotage themselves to, quote, get attention. You know what's interesting about this to me? The organization is very fortunate in that some people hearing about the sabotage from a target did the sabotage themselves, quote, to get attention. It's interesting to me that they would put this in here because that is exactly why they do these. That's why they're committing these crimes. These organized crimes against humanity, these woke mob crimes against humanity are being perpetuated so that they can generate social currency. Social currency is attention. Sabotage is applied at the target's home, workplace, and on their vehicle. This requires the assistance of locksmiths and alarm technicians. Your local control center will supply this help and will bring specialists in from a distance in the case of rural areas. Here are some examples of sabotage a community-based agent may be assigned to carry out. Entering a vehicle or home and changing control and radio settings. Replacing window washer fluid with water, possibly destroying the system in winter. Scratching the paint on the target's vehicle. Scratching furniture and valuables. Tire sabotage, from removing some air right up to slashing a side wall if authorized by the center. And this would be done to prevent the target from leaving. So these are tactics that are done to force the target into isolation, to impoverish the target, and basically to deprive the target from being able to get any help, any financial help, any social support, and just anything of the sort. Simulating a break-in electric window heating strips. They don't simulate break-ins. They just break in. It's a full-on mobbing. Cutting off the four-way flasher button. Removing substantial amounts of oil, transmission fluid, or antifreeze, but not enough to cause catastrophic failure. Moving things around inside the vehicle to show the target someone broke in. Unlocking the vehicle and leaving it unlocked, possibly even with door open. Small cuts to car's upholstery. Also, I wanted to note that while they're doing all of this, it forces the target to look poor. And this is also, too, how they try to make the target appear to be mentally ill. Unlocking the target's front or back door and leaving it ajar while the target is away, even at midnight at New Year for New Year hour. Moving furniture or carpets around fairly frequently to show the target someone was there. Stealing low-value items, especially items like scissors, which can be easily misplaced, keeping them until the target replaces the item, then return the missing item, often in a place the target checked. Stealing important papers, especially those which will cost money to replace. Stealing irreplaceable photographs. While target is at work, remove mail from their box and toss it around. Repeatedly making wall pictures crooked. Setting clocks to the wrong time. Repeatedly dumping consumable supplies, an example coffee, to make the target think that they are no longer capable of managing their supplies well. Starting small rips in new clothing, which are widened on repeated visits. Psychotic. Ripping crotches out of the target's underwear or stealing finest underwear, swimsuits, etc. They've consistently done this to me. Replacing clothing with similar items which are too small for the target, like for a child that the target does not have. Ironing inside button flags over, making buttoning the shirt or top difficult. Carefully working the tip of a knife through seams in any air mattress or cushion the target may own, including replacements on a daily basis. Breaking zippers in clothing and bags, perhaps by pulling out a tooth or two. Shoving a knife through the soles of waterproof boots. At work, removing screws from the target's office chair. Or at home, dinner table leaving only one screw of 4 left to tilt the table with china. At work, damaging or destroying, if not extremely obvious, a target's work from a previous day. For example, the computer is broken again, possibly worse. At work, replacing current copies of computer files with an older copy, particularly serious if the target is a computer programmer. At work, where some employees are or can be recruited to be community-based agents. Set up, quote, mistaken deliveries of heavy goods which block the target's office or workspace. At work, if the target is responsible for parts of the operation which can be sabotaged, do so repeatedly just as the target starts eating lunch or is about to leave for home or break. At work, where the target is responsible for materials that can't be locked up, sabotage or with special permission from the control center, steal the material. So this will inevitably lead to the target's wrongful termination. Premeditated. Thefts have to be carefully considered and authorized by your local control center. Unless you have authorization, do not steal. One particularly effective type of theft is to remove small value but often used items from the target's premises. Once the target has been observed purchasing a replacement, the item is then returned. This not only causes the target to spend money uselessly, it also imposes a feeling of total helplessness on the target. Chapter 18, Overview of Harassment Methods Used by FBI's COINTELPRO Counterintelligence Program, Operation Gladio, Covert Community Recruits, and Stay Behind Armies, or Instruction Manual for Community Gang Stalkers. Part 5, Sabotaging the Target's Reputation. Sabotaging the target's reputation and all that goes with it, such as ability to earn a living, business and personal relationships, is a very special operations category. Newer community-based agents will not be assigned to engineer the method, but will assist in passing, quote, rumors, which are the main means of destroying a target's public image. Quote, rumors consist mainly of lies. However, in order to secure cooperation of specific members of the community to participate in the punishment phase, additional information keyed to appeal to the patriotic or community service sense of such community members may be used as well. As mentioned earlier, the organization has many top psychologists and psychiatrists on permanent staff at headquarters and some in larger population centers. It is their responsibility to design the campaign to destroy the target's reputation. These people listed below can be approached and given information which will cause them to make the target's association with them uncomfortable or break off all contact with the target. Business contacts, supervisors, co-workers, casual social contacts, such as clubs a target may be a member of, or a group that frequents a bar where the target is a patron. Friends, local fraternal organizations. They are motivated by the public service and are an excellent source of assistance in keeping the target under surveillance and participating in the punishment phase as well. Store staffs at places the target shops. Target's landlord. Target's neighbors. Tradesmen who are likely to service the target's home, car, or business. Bus drivers on the target's route, local children, city employees, including emergency medical technicians, ambulances, homeless shelter staff, and residents where applicable. Family members. Surprisingly, many are ready to believe negative information or misinformation, disinformation. Sad. That is sad. When you all are family, it is your job to be protecting these people. Not throwing them under the bus. So eager because you're jealous and insecure and depressed and psychotic. Especially personnel at places the target applies for work. How intensely these sabotage operations are carried out is governed mainly by the need to prevent the target from learning that the negative rumors are being spread. The goal is to keep negative information covertly flowing into the community in such a way that those receiving the information aren't likely to tell the target. One might think that friends and family members would instantly notify the target and side with the target, which is exactly what they should be doing if they want restitutions. Fortunately, experience shows that co-opting friends and family is surprisingly easy once they are informed about the target's criminal record. And when the target doesn't have a criminal record, they will start making stuff up and putting the target in jail for faulty reasons. It's an entrapment operation so that they can dirty up the target's name, but it's completely fabricated. The headquarters staff have developed techniques which by and large prevent that, but those techniques are beyond the scope of this manual. Suffice it to say that it is possible to apply, quote, incentives. Sex and fear is the incentive here, which cause even people closest to the target to cooperate. These incentives are applied by specialists from our organization at higher than the local level. These incentives often include brainwashing techniques. For the community level CBA, the work of sabotaging the reputation of the target takes the form of simply carrying out instructions from your control center as to what you say to whom, how, and when. Chapter 18, Overview of Harassment Methods Used by FBI's COINTELPRO, Operation Gladio, Covert Community Recruits, and Stay-Behind Armies, or Instruction Manual for Community Gang Stalkers, Part 6, Discrediting Targets. While the powerful silent support of operations by the justice and psychiatric systems has been sufficient to prevent the target from informing the public, the area of discrediting targets is an ongoing activity. Like sabotaging the target's reputation, discrediting their public statements, websites, media appearances, letters to the editor, and the like are done under the supervision of psychologists and psychiatrists at their staff. If a community-based agent has a good track record of intelligently carrying out assignments and has access to a computer, the CBA may apply to the local control center for assignment to discredit work. Excellent communication skills are required. Some of the activities CBAs carry out under supervision are monitoring message boards, WOGs, and open media for target posts. This is normally done in special shifts and under scheduling and control at a higher level than your local control center. This monitoring is assisted by blog scanning software, which will detect and instantly flag posts relating to activities. So this is also how they're going about suppressing the online community outreach that I do. And the reason why they have to discredit my work is so that they can lead these targets, who are 65 to 70% of them are white American women like myself. Many of them come straight out of the CPS system, and the idea here is to lead them straight up, to deceive them straight up into their death. The CBA doing this work will immediately reply with comments like, someone isn't taking their medication, or target's name has provided absolutely no evidence. So all of these gang stalkers aren't taking their medication. They need to be immediately forced onto antipsychotic medication. None of them are. It doesn't seem like they are, because they're out here wilding, psychotic as hell. And then they need to provide evidence, and they don't have any. So there's no proof to provide any evidence in terms of what they're claiming. And so it's all disinformation. It's all rumors. It's all lies. The CBA will then report the post to higher level supervisors for possibly more detailed responses. Monitoring newspapers in your area for letters to the editor regarding activities. Most editors and many reporters have been recruited and are willing to assist in keeping the important work of monitoring and neutralizing quiet. But once in a while, a letter to the editor will slip through. In this case, comments like, quote, someone isn't taking their medication, are not an appropriate response. Transcribe and forward such a letter to the editor, to the supervisor, along with your proposed response. The supervisor may edit your response and will assist in ensuring your response is printed. Your supervisor will have staff monitored upcoming talk shows. Your supervisor will have staff monitoring upcoming talk show appearances by targets. So every time I do a show, they're flagging it, they're reporting it, they're listening in. While most talk show hosts, even those somewhat sympathetic to targets, have received discrediting information and often will not even host targets, some targets do manage to get on the air. In this case, your supervisor will assign you to call into the show and instruct you as to appropriate things to say, such as rebutting the target's claims, pretending to be a target, calling and making, quote, wacko statements, such as UFOs are harassing me, or pulling the discussion away from real activities and to something like media mind control. Why is that even in here if that's not a thing? They just be telling on themselves left and right. Agents who have excellent persuasive communication skills can be assigned with careful coaching and preparation from supervisors to pretend to be a target and get on talk shows known to air targets as the guest. So pretty much every single person you see, if you Google or YouTube or research gang stalking, pretty much every single person that you will see pop up first is an agent with excellent persuasive communication skills who pretend to be a target. And when they get on there, they act all psychotic and crazy. And this is all to discredit the target. And then eventually you'll get down to the very bottom of the list. And the actual target, typically, when you're doing your research, like my video, will be the last one. So it's buried underneath all of these agents who pretend to be a target so that they can discredit the target, so that they can make it seem as if all of these targets are crazy. This is the idea here. These opportunities are great ways to discredit targets by talking about UFOs, things like black helicopters following you, foil beanies, satellites parked just above your home, and perhaps events normally considered paranormal, like seeing things that appear and disappear. I've never said that. These discrediting topics must be a total surprise to the host, only mentioned after the show is in progress. CBA can, quote, casually describe the, quote, odd behavior exhibited by the target as a result of around-the-clock activities to the target's neighbors. Your wife is fucking ugly, by the way, and you're fat and you need to get on a fucking treadmill, neighbor. The idea is to focus the neighbor's attention to the target's behavior, hinting that maybe the target is mentally ill. This is easy once the target has developed suspicion that, quote, everyone is out to get him or her. It is a special, quote, honor for CBAs to be chosen for target discredit action work. I'm going to say it again, neighborino. Your wife is fucking hideously ugly and you're fat and you need to get on a treadmill. Has anybody ever noticed how fat these environmentalists get driving their fucking Teslas and their Priuses? Walking is what you need, sweetheart. Walking, Mrs. and Mr. Smith, is what you need. You need to get out of that Tesla, you need to get out of that Prius, and you need to walk. It's good for you, okay? But that is your karma for thinking that you're better than everybody else. That's why you don't even have the energy or the time to exercise, all right? And money isn't everything. Money ain't everything, okay? These people with money are obese and mental, straight up psychotic. The interesting thing to me about ugly fat people with money is that they actually think we're jealous. I don't want to be obese like you. I don't want to be strung out on crack cocaine like you. I like and prefer my body over yours, okay? I like and prefer my mentality over yours. The only thing that these things have on me is money. Other than that, they lack personality, they lack character, they don't look good. And as far as I'm concerned, most of them didn't even have that money in their 20s. It took them to be 40, 50, 60 just to get it. Okay. Did you see how much money I was making in my 20s? It didn't take me 60 years. And then, now I'm driving a brand new sports car. No, bullshit. But that's how you know they're haters. So anyways, to continue, you ought to be prepared to take it in. If you're going to dish it out, get ready. If you want to wage war upon innocent civilians, get ready. Because I'm prepared to throw you under the bus. I don't give a fuck who you are. I don't care. I don't know you. I won't remember you after this at all. I will not remember any of these people. My son will not remember these people. They're nobodies. Chapter 18, Overview of Harassment Methods Used by FBI's COINTELPRO Operation Gladio, Covert Community Recruits and Stay-Behind Armies, or Instruction Manual for Community Gang Stalkers. Part 7, Trade-Related Punishment. This section will give some examples of ways community-based agents with specific trades or situations in the community can apply deniable punishment to targets. Underground utility crews where the management has been recruited schedule messy, noisy maintenance at the target's home or business if the target runs a business. This can include having the street torn up for extended periods or repeatedly. Funding for unneeded work is available from headquarters. Hold on, I just want to repeat this because there are starving children, and I genuinely believe that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, CPS needs to get involved and make sure that they go to prison. People need to be calling CPS on Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for the starving children in this country that they are responsible for creating. This starvation is systemically done. Let me explain this one more time because I'm very passionate about this. This can include having the street torn up for extended periods or repeatedly. Funding for unneeded work is available from headquarters. So while there are children starving in these CPS systems and at home, funding for unneeded work is available from headquarters. So when you hear me going on and on and on about how these resources are supposed to be readily available for needy families, how the people that work there, these volunteers that work there, the pastor, the advocates at the shelters, personnel at homeless shelters and domestic violence shelters, they will go through the resources and the supplies, and they will take home what they need. And at the bottom of the barrel left for the needy families that these resources are supposed to be for, there will be nothing left. So this is why I go on and on and on and on and on about it. You know why? I never wanted to take time to learn about this system. I was forced as a foster child to observe these corrupt social workers, these corrupt foster parents, okay? These corrupt pastors. Yes, absolutely. I took time to observe and study their behavior. When I was in a foster home, I had to sign a piece of paper that said that money was going to my basic needs. I would argue with my foster parents and social worker because that money never made it to where it was supposed to be. Every single foster child that ages out of the system is owed victim of crime and restitutions So where is the funding for that? Christmas time and holiday seasons for foster children is their go-to timing. This is how they arrange to have these kids so depressed that they become suicidal because they get nothing. They get nothing. So while you're out here in your fucking Tesla and your fucking Prius looking fat as fuck, you need to be walking. When you go to the store to go get your children some fat ass food, they don't need that. Y'all need to stay at home and starve for a day or two, because you damn sure don't need it. You're fat. God damn. Taxi drivers can delay arriving when called by the target, especially when going to the airport. This is very common. Bus drivers have leeway in nasty weather, for example, to stop one stop away from a waiting target and wait there for perhaps 5 minutes, ostensibly to, quote, get back on schedule. This can also cause a target to miss connections with the next bus or train. This is typically done so that they can either be late or have to call out from work repetitively so that they ultimately and inevitably are wrongfully terminated. If you do not work for the union and you are a TI or you are somebody who supports a TI, you will be inevitably wrongfully terminated. In many cases, back to back to back to back. This is especially effective when the target, exposed to bad weather, can see the bus waiting up the street for no apparent reason or not stopping at all at your bus stop. Repair tradespeople can keep, quote, getting it wrong, necessitating many recalls, be late, be messy, overbill the target, and even damage things which were okay. This is especially effective in the automobile repair trade. So this is why I always say, if you have a vehicle that is special to you, like when my ex and I were engaged, my ex-fiance Jason and I were engaged at some point. Him and I owned a R32 VW, a Golf. It was one of 5,000 ever manufactured, ever produced. It was a collector's item. Okay? It had a modified catback dual exhaust system, so it was beautiful sounding when it drove. Absolutely genius piece of equipment, whoever engineered it. I loved that car with my entire heart, and I don't think there are very many things in this world that I can honestly say that about other than my own children. So I basically am saying that car to me was like a child. So in any case, when you have a vehicle that is valuable to you, and you know this, and you know that they know this, you have to be careful where you're taking it. Just because you love it like a child, and you know this, and you know that they know this, that gives them the leeway to go ahead and do whatever they think they want to do. They're already jealous of all white Americans. They're already jealous of all white Americans. That's why there's a white genocide going on. These mechanics at these automobile repair centers, you don't think that they're going to hate on you if you bring a car like that into their shop. Abso-fucking-lutely. They're going to fuck your shit up immediately because you, to them, are a white supremacist. Okay? And that's exactly what happened. The R32, the VW, the Golf, that is one of 5,000 ever made, cobalt blue, It gets like 220, I think. It gets up to like 220. That's how fast it goes. And yeah, I know it's only a V6. Who cares? You're just jealous, bitch. I had that in my 20s, not in my 60s. All right? So anyways, they fucked it up. They fucked up his shit. He's never going to get it back. He had to get something else. So this is what they do. This is what they do. It's absolutely heartbreaking. When you love a vehicle that much and they ruin it just to sabotage you, it's absolutely heartbreaking. To see something you love so much go up in flames like that, absolutely heartbreaking. Now, I wasn't there, but I heard the story, and when I found out, I was very, very disappointed. I was upset. I loved this car like if it was my own child. Seriously, I took so many beautiful pictures of that car. It's not even funny. I absolutely loved that car. I had so much fun driving that car. It matched my personality type, even though it was blue. Anyways, to continue. Medical lab technicians can substitute blood samples. Extremely scary stuff here. Medical lab technicians can substitute blood samples or otherwise falsify results, making the target appear to have absolutely no reason for their complaints. Police can frequently pull the target over for frivolous reasons. Telephone and cable TV technicians can reroute legitimate calls to the target's number in large numbers, and this will cause the target to get very angry with these totally innocent callers. This is done every day. It's a form of electronic harassment. Store staff where the target shops frequently can be instructed to remove items the target is known to need when a target is known to be coming. Store management can stop ordering a target's favorite items. Restaurants and food delivery services can tell the target they are out of an item known to be a favorite of a target. So like if you purchase your favorite cigarettes and you go to a specific store because they have a discount on them, they'll pull those cigarettes off the shelf, so you'll have to go to a different store, spend more gas money, and spend more money for the product. The key to successful punishment by tradespeople is that while the target is very likely to know that they are being punished, these punishment actions must appear to the general public as life's normal breaks. This is being done using plausible deniability. All of these honeypots look like they crawled out of Roseanne Barr's ass. And the U.S. military says that they admit that average-looking women actually work best in terms of sexpionage operations. So anyways, just for the record, when I asked Jerron who his Hollywood crush is, he said Megan Fox. He didn't say Roseanne Barr. Thank you so much for joining me on today's program. I will be picking up tomorrow right where I left off, and I will be finishing up chapter 18 with part 8, which is the target's home, and part 9, which is other tactics. So if you are interested, stay tuned for that. Thank you all so much for joining me on today's program. I hope you all enjoyed today's program, today's episode, and I will be back at it again bright and early tomorrow.